All right, let's focus up on this kind of stuff here for a second. Some goodies. Start off with the smallest thing here. Regency Signal Booster. For television. You got your TV channels here, 2 through 13. And then here's your on-off, and then I guess kind of channel selector thing. If you want 2 through 6, so this half of the dial, you put it to this position, and then you can tune around on this. If you want 7 through 13, you focus on this half of the dial here, and you follow it like that. This is pretty early. I think this is from the early 50s, like maybe 1951 or so. Kind of a cool little device. You can see it's slug tuned. 6J6, 1 tube. Here's your connections. 73 ohms and 300 ohms. Model DB-410, 12 watts. Kind of cool. Made for something like this. Alright, let's take a look at this one back here. I'm sure we've all seen one of these. I'm sure some of us probably have one of these. This is probably about a 1951 Zenith AM/FM tube radio. I'd bet that this thing sounds pretty good when it's working properly. It's got kind of this nice handle here that actually still feels very nice. Is that leather or rubber? Wow, I'm impressed. Cord is marginal. Probably not going to be testing anything in this video, but more so just taking a look at stuff. This is a model, probably says on the bottom. Probably does, but good luck reading that. I don't know, you can probably just Google lens this thing. FM Armstrong system. Zenith always put those stickers on their FM stuff, early FM stuff from the 40s and 50s. So yeah, let's get the back off of this one and see what we're working with. And I'll mention that these two came from the same place, local here. I bought these from the original family that bought these new back in 1951 and 52. And not only that, not only the original family, I picked these up from the house that these were unboxed in when they were brand new. It's a house that had been in the family since at least the 40s. Old farm way out in the country. So that's pretty cool, you know? One house, one family owner. Very cool. But yeah, this was their first TV. This was their first FM radio. So really cool, you know. Got to shake hands with somebody who remembers when this came home. The excitement of turning it on for the first time and messing with the antenna until something came in. Looks like this is about as far as we're gonna get. I don't want to get super in depth in this video. This is just kind of a like initial once over. I believe this uses a 19T8 for FM. Pretty standard. I bet that filter capacitor might still be good. Zenith was using some really good filter capacitors, at least in my experience during this era. Zenith filter capacitors were really good. So I bet we can get a date off of that speaker. Let me go over there. That 038 down there, I believe, is 1950, 38th week. So sometime around late 1950, early 51 for this guy. And we have this here, which will probably need to be redone. Yeah. It's a Zenith. Look at all those disc capacitors. And we got some wax ones and some bumble bombs. The whole gang's here. Look at that. And it looks like we even have some mica ones, unless that's a weird resistor, which sometimes those are resistors, sometimes those are capacitors, so you have to be careful. But yeah, is the gang all here? We got the whole enchilada, bumble bomb, wax, domino, and disc. Huh. Well, I don't see any obvious work that's been done. This old FM stuff is really different. Each thing is, like each early FM radio that I've ever worked on or opened up has all had some weird stuff going on under it. You know, weird parts like that thing right in the middle. It just looks like a resistor, but oh, who knows? Gotta look at the schematic. That up there with the porcelain insulator, wire wrapped around it. Just so cool. Zenith brand paper capacitors. I wonder if they actually made those, or if that's actually just like a mica mold or Aerovox or something. Well, this will be kind of a fun one here. I bet AM is going to be terrific on this, and FM is going to be pretty abysmal performance. Usually early FM stuff is not very good with performance, but you never know. We'll try it out. 19T8 FM, always a good day when you get to have that running. Look at all those IF cans. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 IF cans. That's amazing. Look at the grease coming out of that thing. That's pretty cool. Can't tell if it got hot or it was just over greased or both. Who knows? Looks like we have a tone control on the side here. That's pretty cool. So yeah, this is my jam here. This kind of like late 40s, early 50s stuff. Kind of my specialty, quote unquote. What I like to work on. This kind of stuff right here. Hopefully it should clean up pretty good. I know it looks rough now, but it's just dusty and dirty. It's been sitting. Should clean up kind of pretty nice. Yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Now it's time for our kind of main course here. This is a 1952 Admiral Chassis number 19B1. And this model ran, I know 1952, I know 1953, I think maybe early 1954. So it was a pretty well-used chassis. There's a lot of documentation of it, so I already have a schematic for it. I know a Sam's exists, and I have a Beatman's for this. Beatman's 1953 most needed television schematics. It's in pretty good condition. I mean, it's complete. It's just like that radio. It's been sitting for a while, so this one will clean up pretty nice. None of that is corrosion. It's just gunk from sitting. I mean, this was out on a dairy farm, so you can imagine that stuff gets pretty dirty out there. I don't think this is sitting in the barn, maybe the basement of the house, but I don't know, pretty cool. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of this 1951 Admiral radio. They have like the same bakelite color, the same logo. Yeah, it just kind of reminds me of that. They're pretty similar. Maybe I'll put these two together. And this works. This didn't need any work. It's working on all original components. Granted, I'll change them when it needs work to be done. But yeah, like I said, this was that family's first television set. Really cool to be able to get this from the original family, from the people who remember when this was brand new out of the box and just set up back in, I believe, early 1953, because the final inspection stamp on this is December 9th, 1952. So I'd imagine it probably would have been sold early 53. And here we have our volume here with picture on this inner ring. Admiral loved their double ring knobs. I guess this era kind of loved that style of knob, but got to get these two from sticking to each other. Down here we have vertical, horizontal, and brightness, and I believe that there is supposed to be a plate over this with a door that kind of flips down, but I mean, you can still tell what everything is. It's kind of unfortunate, but hey, it gives me something to look for on eBay, I guess. And that'll feel pretty good to put that plate on it when I find one. Over here, we have a big ka-chunk tuner with a fine tuning knob back here. It goes from 2 to 13 because no UHF. Obviously, this was 1952. Just wait till we get to the back. Big, thick safety glass, easily removable. 4 screws. That'll make cleaning this thing a wonder. A lot of times, the safety glass is not this easy to take out. Not at all. Coming around to the side of this one, we've got our speaker here. The speaker cloth, very fancy. Some green stuff on the side that'll probably come out with a magic eraser or even just soapy water. Some vents. The top could use a good wipe down, but will clean up very nicely. There are no like real scrapes or scratches or anything like that taken out of this. This is going to clean up really, really nicely. I can't wait to see what this thing looks like when it's done. The back is, I mean, it could be worse, definitely. It's not in great shape, but it's there. So, I mean, I'm not going to complain about that. It's 70-plus-year-old cardboard. The cord was snipped. It's just a standard 2-prong deal. That was cut by the guy that I bought this from, so the person who would have been a kid when this was new. It's missing 1 screw, 2 screw, 3, 4. It only has that screw there and that one up there. So usually that would be a bad sign. I haven't really seen much that has to do with this, with weird stuff going on under the cardboard, but I have not looked under the chassis yet. So here's the kind of interesting thing here. Admiral Magic Strip guarantees UHF reception. There's no UHF tuner on this. I read somewhere that there was a way where you could like swap out coils and be able to get UHF with this, but I don't know why somebody would do that when you could buy a UHF tuner for a TV like this back then. I mean, you could go to the store or order one, you know, from a catalog, or you could go to a electronics store and you could probably buy, just buy a UHF tuner for a TV like this. But I mean, I don't know. I guess Admiral was doing their own thing back then, so good for them. Made in USA. And over here is another kind of neat thing, a DX rangefinder. What does this do? I don't know, but it goes up to 300 and down to 0, and it was set to 0. So who knows? Maybe it boosts the voltage going to something in the receiver tuner area and it makes better signal. I don't know. Just a random guess. Let's get the back off of this. Alrighty. This is not a roundy. Isn't that impressive? No round picture tube here. Here's a little chassis tag here with our tubed stuff. 17 BP4A. So that's pretty cool. There's our final inspection stamp, 12/9 of 52. Very cool. Let me turn the light on. There we go. That's a little better. So yeah, 17 BP4A. Looks like This is an RCA tube. That could be some sort of date code there, I don't know, or factory code. All of our tubes are here, including this right here. That don't look factory. Got a tube with a missing grid cap. See, it's just the wire sticking out of it. And so, because you can't put a grid cap on this, I'd imagine this was still a good tube. They got creative. So, we're just not going to touch that. Maybe wrap it in electrical tape just to be sure, but I mean, I don't think it ever arced like that while it was in use. Looks like another RCA tube. That one's kind of interesting. It's got a brown bottom. I think that's pretty common with military stuff, so that could be an old military tube. Yep, that's an old military tube. 37th week of 54 by the looks of it. 6SN7 WGT. We've got our double transformer speaker back there. I think this looks like something that we should be twisting before we get this TV working. Just rotating it back and forth. Alrighty, big reveal though. What is in the box? Well, we know what is supposed to be in the box. We've got our high voltage rectifier tube and our flyback. And the screws are missing too. That's exciting. So what could possibly be under here? And is it healthy? Well, we certainly have a flyback. And we have our tube, ladies and gentlemen. That flyback looks pretty healthy too. It's not overly dusty. And it's not all nasty like how they sometimes do. Sometimes they just look like they've been on fire and they still work. So this one's pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with that. I'd imagine the screws were just taken out to fasten this thing together. A lot of RCA brand tubes in this. Not all of them are. We got actually at least one original Admiral. It is the video amp tube there. But, I mean, the rest of these are mostly RCA, including the picture tube, which might be a replacement, especially if it's from 1953. So, yeah, I'd imagine Admiral was making picture tubes at this point in time. This would seem pretty late to get into the game for a TV company that would start making picture tubes. Our first little glimpse under here. I don't think I'm going to open it up in this video completely, but we'll see this eventually in more depth. A lot of paper capacitors. I don't know why that hole is cut out from the bottom, but it doesn't look like anything too crazy. So yeah, that's what we're going to be working with. Very cool. I had a look a bit closer under the chassis. Didn't remove it, but just kind of shine the light down in there. There's actually a lot of disc capacitors under there, which is good because I'd bet those are actually still within spec. Also, of course, quite a few papers, but not as many as I was thinking. Not nearly as many as I was thinking. So that's good. So hopefully this one shouldn't be super hard to get back running. The only other like serious tube TV I have experience working on is a 1949 RCA KCS-34B, which is like my museum quality early television set. I got that a few years ago, and that was, I have heard that those are hard to fix, and I got under the chassis of that, and that was a big job. But this one doesn't look nearly as hard as that. Not as many things to replace. Not saying this is going to be easy by any means. I'm just saying that I think my first go at a genuine tube TV was kind of a hard one to do. So yeah, it's like taking your driver's test in a stick shift that you have to double clutch, like a car from like the 30s or whatever. But anyways, yeah, this should hopefully be a bit easier. I just noticed this. Look at that cloth strap that runs along the top of the picture tube there. That's pretty wicked. Usually the strap that runs along the top of a picture tube like that in a set of this age was metal, not cloth. So that's interesting. That's held up. I'll give it that. Everybody see that thing back there? See how there's like it doesn't go back all the way. Looks like some sort of artifact back in there. I'm gonna try to get it out. All right, it's coming. What that is? I don't know. I see like fruit and jellies and stuff. Is this like a pectin kind of thing? It's kind of cool. I love finding artifacts and stuff inside this kind of stuff. Maybe that can be our thumbnail right there. Is this a healthy one? People who can tell by looking at it. I don't see any like purple or whatever, but I don't really know what I should be looking at. And if I did see blue or purple, I'd be concerned, but I don't. So hopefully that means this is a good one. Admiral Pentode Turret Tuner. Just for the heck of it, let's throw this thing in. This is something that I got like maybe a month ago. It's kind of been zhuzhed up by whoever that is. James E. I don't know. General Electric. I don't know what that is. Maybe somebody out there watching will know. What is that, like flames or something right there? Yeah, we were rocking in style with this one. Headphone jack on the back. Carrying handle. And this wasn't even on the shelf yet when I found it. It was still on the cart, and I just kind of swooped in and grabbed it, at least to take a look. And I flipped it on, and it just worked, so I was like, yeah, sure, you know what, for a couple dollars I'll get this. And so it came home. It's got the civil defense markings on it, which means that it was made sometime within 1953 and 63. Let's pop the back off, and then we can truly know the exact day this was made. And now that I'm getting into some light, I can see that there's like pencil marks making designs on the back of this. I don't know, somebody thought that they were really cool, I guess, with this one. So, looks like it's good now. Ooh. Ooh, wow. That's different. How old is this? Oh, 03, 02. So like March 2002. Man, that is, I don't know, that could be off though. That looks a lot older than 2002. Wow, and just to prove to you that I haven't been in here monkeying with it, I mean, that's That's the battery.
More of your favorites right around the corner. Here on Imaging C.
Wow. Built to last, I guess. The whole thing, even the battery. These capacitors are usually bad, but it doesn't sound like anything is super bad with this one. It's got one of those 20 speakers again. That was really common for GE back in the 50s and 60s. See, that's a pin drive speaker on something from the Tuesday of the 48th week of 1961. Here's our model number, by the way. Yep, still using a pin drive speaker. I don't know if maybe it was more energy efficient or sounded better or what. Who knows? I mean, I'm sure somebody knows. It'd probably be pretty easy to find out why, but maybe it was just cheaper. No obvious brand on that. I don't know. It's got kind of the Japanese style IF cans. So, yeah. Starting to get into some imported parts, but the whole unit itself is made in the United States. That's pretty cool. Yeah, look at that big weird speaker. Pin drive speaker. So bizarre. Well, this one's a go. So anyways, thank you for watching, and hopefully more to come soon. I'll just add one final thing, which is that this is actually a pretty alright performer.
Only use 12.
Okay, well, what do you do?
Visita.
Not bad. It's about 11:50 p.m. So, I mean, AM has been awoken from its daytime slumber. So, yeah, not a bad performer, especially for being all original. Can't complain.